Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Hello everyone and welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips and I'm going to be your host for the next hour. Today's topic is going to be the first chakra. Might sound like a strange topic, but let me explain. At the weekend I'm teaching a workshop on the first chakra and the intuitive aspects of the first chakra. And actually for the next 7 months, once a month, I'm going to be doing a mini retreat on one of the chakras. So I thought it might be fun to parallel that with the radio show and do a show on each of the chakras once a month. So today we're starting at the bottom and we'll be working our way up as the months go by with the first chakra. Now, I wonder whether everyone out there knows what a chakra is. Corey's in the studio with me today. He's the show producer. Do you know what a chakra is, Corey?
Yes, I know what a chakra is. And I'm just wondering if the first chakra was the first chakra way back when the earth was created, or are you talking about the first chakra?
Well, I'm talking about an energy vortex, an energy center that exists in human beings and animals as well. And it's located near the base of your spine. The first chakra is anyway. And you have actually got hundreds of chakras throughout your system. And they're energy vortices. And the main ones run up the trunk of your body, where they look like sort of spinning Catherine wheels from the front, or energy vortices from the side, with the pointy end facing the spine. That's what they look like to somebody with clairvoyant vision. And they're actually, the 7 main chakras are conduits for your spiritual information to be transferred from you, the higher spiritual consciousness, to your temporal self, your body personality. And the first chakra actually contains your spiritual information about how to survive in the physical world. So I kind of think of it a little bit like your physical reality interface. Because we've said this many times on the show before, you are not your physical body. You are spirit. You are a being of pure light. And you have projected an aspect of your consciousness forth into physical reality in order to have some very specific focused experiences. Now, the world of being in pure spirit is very different than the physical world. Some of the main differences are, in the spiritual world, there is no time and there is no space. In the physical world, as you know, because you live here, there is time and there is space. So in the spiritual world, there are no limits. But in the physical world, there are some very specific limits. And there are kind of rules of engagement that we need to know and understand in order to operate in the physical world. So your first chakra, this energy center that exists near the base of your spine, is the information center for all your information about that, about those differences between the spiritual world and the physical world, and how to operate in the physical world. Some other differences between the spiritual world and the physical world are, as spirit, there is no such thing as effort. So everything is instantaneous. You simply need to have a desire or a thought to create something, and in having that desire or thought, it is created. It doesn't happen that way necessarily in the physical world because we have this thing called time and space. And so it takes, for any spiritual creation that you make, it takes time and space for the physical world to catch up to that. And some of the other differences between the physical world and the spiritual world are, in the physical world, everything you do takes effort. You know, whether it's breathing, whether it's moving your arm up and down, whether it's walking, it takes effort. It takes energy and effort. Whereas nothing takes any effort at all in the spiritual world. There's no effort involved. And actually, another difference is, interestingly enough, in the physical world, we have this thing called ethics. You know, certain ways we as human beings must conduct ourselves to be considered acceptable. And that doesn't exist in the spiritual world either. And the other thing is, you know, we have separation here in physical reality. Whereas in the spiritual world, we have oneness, interconnectedness of all things. So there are lots of differences. And we've had a few shows recently as well where we've talked about how planet Earth is a planet of polarities and dualities, how everything is broken down into separate extremes. And that's another facet of how to operate in the physical world, how to balance between those extremes. So your first chakra is sort of like a master information center for all of those kinds of subjects. Now, it's an energy center. Like I said, it is important for survival. It is the survival chakra. Now, all of the chakras are associated with nerve plexi. I think that's the plural of a nerve plexus. You know, a place where in the body where multiple nerves congregate. And the main chakras are also associated with endocrine glands as well. And the first chakra is no exception to that, and it is it's really important in all of the body's survival responses. So you may have heard of the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response. When we are afraid and we have to decide whether to, whether to stand and fight or run away. That's down to the adrenal glands. And, you know, it's also associated with the first chakra. Hello, do we have a caller?
Yes, we do, Dr. Lesley. Her name is Lotus, and she's very nervous.
Lotus? What a lovely name.
Yes, okay, I'll pass her through.
Right, wonderful. Well, hello, Lotus. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Lesley.
Hi. Very nice to speak to you.
How are you?
I'm good. So how can we help you this evening? Do you have a question, or did you want to add something to what we were talking about?
Oh, well, actually, I couldn't receive your program on the air very well. Kind of buffering here. I don't know exactly what your program is about. I just called promptly. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, no. We're glad that you called us, Lotus. And so what did you want to talk about? What did you have a question about?
From my understanding, this is a program about spirituality and metaphysics.
Correct. That is exactly what it's about.
Can you do could you maybe do a short reading?
I can, absolutely. So what would you like me to look at?
Mm-hmm. about my career in general. Recently, I'm at the point of changing my job. I'm not quite sure if I should stay in Canada or go overseas to a place that I've always think I need to go. But for option A, if I stay in Canada, what kind of directions I need to focus on?
Okay, and what do you do as a job and a career right now?
Right now, I'm a marketing manager for a real estate company, real estate development company, and but my background, my educational background is in international law, foreign affairs.
Okay.
After I moved to Canada, I've been taking a different path. I'm not doing well actually for this job I have been doing here. So I'm thinking maybe I need to change to another job which suits me better here, or I'll just completely move to another country.
Okay, well, I'll take a look at it in a minute. I have one more question for you. What is your passion? What do you love? What do you absolutely love to do?
For my passion, I would say it's for charity and charity organizations or international organizations for charity cause.
Okay, great. And the other country that you were thinking of moving to, would you mind sharing with us what country it was?
That is in Middle East, in Dubai.
Dubai. Oh, that's very interesting. Fabulous. Okay, well, I have enough information now, Lotus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a very light trance, and that will enable me to look at your question and give you some information. I'll just ask you, while I'm doing that, just please keep your eyes open, because that will just help me to connect with your energy. So hold on one moment.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll just explain to the listeners, this is the way I do it. I go into a trance, which is an altered state of consciousness, and then I tune into the caller's question. So Lotus is asking about her career direction, and we've talked about three different things. One is what she's doing now, which is being a marketing manager for a real estate firm. The other is international law and foreign affairs.
Yes.
And then the third one is working for a charity organization. And I have to say, and it's probably not a surprise to you, out of those three, the one that looks the brightest and the most exciting and is working for an international charity organization. And I suppose that the international law and foreign affairs could go hand in hand with that idea, couldn't it? And so when I look at staying in marketing in real estate versus working in international foreign affairs charity, one of those organizations that works on an international level in that way, there's no comparison between those two choices. The energy of working internationally for a charity engaged in foreign affairs and maybe international law, it looks very bright and it looks very exciting, whereas there's just no enthusiasm behind being the marketing manager. And then if I look at living in Canada versus living in Dubai, at the moment, I'm not seeing a huge difference between the two of them. I want to ask you one more question, and that is are there sort of headquarters of international charitable organizations based in Dubai that you could be interested in working in? Is there a link between those two? Or is Dubai just a country that you've always wanted to go and stay in?
Yeah, that's a good question. Dubai is a culture I feel very related to. I used to live there for half a year, and I find myself quite for example, in my career or in my relationship, everything just was very prosperous for me. Instead of and then I moved to Canada, I feel for my career and my relationship, either way don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's why that's why I thought Dubai, this place, it's kind of has good energy to my life in general.
Yeah,
that's my perspective.
Yeah, no, and I can see what you're saying, but what I'm actually seeing if I kind of scan the globe and look at different places where you might live, definitely that whole area of actually Europe and the Middle East. I see there's lots of bright spots and lots of possibilities in Europe and the Middle East, and they look much more. It just looks more in alignment with you and your energy and what you want to do. And so I'm seeing that North America is looking... It's just not looking as exciting for you by far. And so I would definitely say looking to move internationally, but you might want to just... As you start your search, you might just want to broaden your horizons a little bit outside of Dubai and the Middle East, just because I'm seeing that there are lots of bright spots kind of throughout Europe, lots of possibilities. And so
in Europe,
yeah, as well as in the Middle East. And so, that gives you a fairly wide net to cast in terms of looking at. Let me look at, and I'm also going to look at whether one of these big international charitable organisations versus something more local and smaller, whether there's a difference there in the energy. So let me just.
Or in Ottawa, could you please look that up?
I'll look at
in Ottawa.
I'll look at Ottawa as well. See, no, I'm actually not even seeing that Canada looks very like a positive place for you in general. I'm just seeing and Ottawa, it just looks very stuffy and dull,
Okay.
And so, now I'm just going to look at. This might sound really odd, but a place that I actually keep seeing, and it's not the only one, because like I said, I'm seeing lights all over Europe, little possibilities all over Europe, but I've seen Italy pop up a few times, which is kind of odd. Anyway, I wanted to look at, whether we should steer you in like these big multinational organizations or whether there's some smaller ones. So let's see.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm actually seeing something that's kind of in the middle. Something that is not so small that there's no career development for you, but something that is not so big that you just get swallowed up in a big machine either. I'm seeing that there's some, middle ground, some medium-sized organizations might be the most interesting for you because... there's room to expand and grow.
For creativity.
Yes, yeah. Room to be creative and room to... Because what I'm seeing for you is actually ultimately what you would like to do. And you can tell me if this feels right to you or not, but it's like be in a position to have an influence. Be in a position that you're... at the level of a decision maker who can make a difference in the world. And so finding some organization that's big enough that it has some sway in the world, and that if you got yourself into a senior position in it, that that you would have some influence. And I'm seeing that it looks like to me like you have a great potential to do that. You have what it takes to do that. You have
I'm not sure if I have the leadership skills.
Really? Well, let's see. Do you have the... do you know what? I would argue that you do. Because, so often we look at people who are being leaders and think that to be a leader, we have to be like them. And what I'm seeing is that you might not be a leader in the same way as some of the leaders that you have been exposed to in your life, but that's actually a good thing. Because so many of the leaders in our world lead by, controlling others. And, I'm seeing that your leadership style is it actually looks like it's got a lot to do with being very motivational, being able to motivate people, being able to help people feel important about what they're doing and that they're making a really important contribution. And it looks like you're really good at building a cohesive team, a team that feels like that works well together, where people are not in competition with each other and fighting each other. It looks like you're able to transmit a set of values and a vision to people that they can follow.
You're right. I always try to eliminate the conflict energy inside the team. It's kind of I try to make it soft. Make the conflicts or differences soften.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that, exactly. And that skill is not just a skill that is useful within the workplace, inside an organization that you work for. It's also a great skill working internationally between different organizations. So I'm seeing that you have... what's the word? Well, the word statesman came into my head for a reason, for some reason. But just somebody who can do that in multiple venues. Whether you would be dealing with another organisation in another country, or you'd be just needing to influence people in order to affect change.
Yes. So do you think, Dr. Lesley, Right now, for the time being, I can stay in Canada and look at or do things globally, or I'll just move to Europe or to Middle East.
So I think what I'm seeing is, obviously you're in Canada now, and you would be needing to start your search for a new opportunity while you're in Canada. But I'd start looking. I'd start looking at the different possibilities, and I'd definitely look in Europe and the Middle East. Just start doing some research, seeing who's out there and what's out there, and as you do your research, tune in to how you're feeling about the different organizations that you're looking at. Do you feel excited by them? Do you feel excited by the work that they're doing? Do you feel in alignment with what they're about? And you'll feel it. It's not just even an intellectual thing about weighing up the pros and cons. You'll feel it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You need to let my intuition awake and tell me if this is the right place for me. Yeah.
Exactly, and I'm seeing that. Let's see. I think I'd just leave it at that. But like I said, Lotus, there's a lot of possibilities for you out there. I think once you start looking into it and you start talking to people, I think you'll have a few choices.
Okay. Sure. Thanks a lot, Dr. Lesley.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah. Am I allowed to ask another question, or each person?
Yeah, you can ask another question. we don't have anyone else hanging on the line, so sure.
Okay, nobody else. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, maybe I take too much of your time.
Well, that's all right.
Program. So when you do reading, do you tell the energy from my voice, and you can see an image?
The way I do it is, I use a number of different intuitive abilities. I'm very strongly clairvoyant, and so a lot of the time I'm looking at your energy, but I also use my what's called claircognizance, which is knowingness, and it's simply an intuitive ability to just instantly know information. And they would be the two main faculties that I use. I communicate sometimes with more when I'm doing healings. I sometimes communicate with my guides, and I do that through my clairaudience, which is the ability to hear a spirit. But when I was reading you just then, I was using my clairvoyance and my claircognizance, my spiritual vision and my knowingness.
Okay, I see. I've got a question, Dr. Lesley.
Great.
Because from my upbringing, I've been always believe in karma or reincarnation or destiny. But somehow, as I develop more studies in spiritual path, I realize people, to some extent, they can change their destiny, or they are the master of their destiny.
Yeah.
Into certain things. But right now, I'm not quite sure to what factor. For example, in relationships, do you think it's a destiny that you are going to, or people are going to meet someone or become build a family for the rest of their life? So this particular person, is it already set in the destiny, or in general, we have the power to choose or to select which person we can become a soul partner or soulmate in our life.
Yeah. So I'll be happy to answer that question for you, Lotus. So I believe in free will and choice, and so really all that exists for you is right here, right now, the present moment, and you draw the future, your future circumstances towards yourself by your thoughts and feelings and where you're focusing your energy. Okay, so if you're focused on vibrating at the vibration of love and validation, you love yourself, you feel joyful, you feel great, you feel worthy, then that will set up a vibration that will draw a reflection of that to you. And so, but if you are focusing your energy on being in pain and feeling unworthy, and that nobody's going to ever love you and you're always going to be alone, then that's the frequency that you're transmitting. That's the then you will draw those type of circumstances to yourself. So on one level, I mean, you completely are the master of your own destiny, and if you can wake up consciously enough that you can be in control of what frequencies you are carrying, then you can completely attract what you want. And you always have a choice. There's no such thing as never. This is the planet of choices. It's all about choice. Now, having said that, then it is also true that when we incarnate, we tend to incarnate with the same people over and over again. And quite often we will have a spiritual contract with other souls about what part we will play in each other's lives. So it's common to have a spiritual contract with souls that might be coming in to be your children, or someone who might be coming in to be your lover. But just because you have that spiritual contract doesn't mean that you don't have a choice. So if you meet this person, let's call him Bob, and before you were both born, you said, "Oh, we had fun those other lifetimes, let's do it again, and this time maybe we'll be lovers," right? And then you meet Bob. It doesn't. You still have the choice. You can still change that agreement at any point in time. Maybe Bob is incarnated and he had the intentions of being this wonderful, loving person, but he's created some pain and he's turned into an abuser, which wasn't what he planned, but he ended up that way. You see what I'm saying? So there's choice all the way along the way.
Okay. Yeah, I see. So, if I understood correctly, you mean destiny or reincarnation provide us the chance to meet, or the chance to meet in this life, but where we go from this life is up to us.
Absolutely.
To our positive attitude, is that right?
Yeah, you have 100% potential to control your own reality and control your own destiny consciously.
I see. Okay, yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, and Dr. Lesley, is that possible? You can tell my, for example, a person from which cultural background can have the most potential to become my soulmate or lover in life.
Oh, I didn't hear everything that you said.
Yes. Can you tell from the my reading a person from what kind of cultural background can most possibly become my soulmate?
Okay. Well, I'll look at that question in present time. I'm not sure what will come up, but I can at least see if there are people that are close to you right now that. Okay, so actually here's an interesting thing. What's actually coming up when I look at that question is I see some of, I said when I kind of looked at a map of the world, and all these lights showed up in Europe and the Middle East when we were looking at your career. When I look at the question of, a happy, fulfilling relationship for you, I'm getting the same map of the world with the same lights showing up. And so it looks to me like you, just as you were kind of intuiting yourself, a move for you to another area of the world looks like there are lots of potential out there for you. In present time, I'm not seeing... In present time, in your immediate surroundings, in your immediate reality right now, I'm not seeing a specific person or people like that. But so I think this feeling that you have inside of you that perhaps you should move and go to another area of the world. It sounds to me like it might be a good idea to follow that feeling that you're having.
So this place you have seen again on the world chart, is it in the Middle East or more in the Europe for a fulfilling relationship?
Europe. But you know what? That's not. Maybe there are some organizations in Europe that do work in the Middle East, or an organization in the Middle East that does work in Europe. But somewhere where there's an interface between both of those continents. But more in Europe, and there's more than one of them. So it's not like there's just one soulmate for you. There's multiple possibilities and multiple potential partners, because as spiritual beings, most people, they come for a past life reading and they say, who was I in a past life? And the answer is, you were thousands and thousands of people in your past lives. So we come into contact with so many different souls. If you think in the context of having had thousands of past lives, how many husbands have you ever had? How many children have you ever had? How many people have you ever known? Enormous number of people. And so, I'm seeing that you have choices this lifetime about where you can go with any and all of this, your career and a relationship partner.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good to know which direction I need to put my energy and time on to live it to the maximum.
Yeah.
And there you are to guide me. on this path.
Yeah, but you can learn to guide yourself as well. It's my passion always to teach people how to do this for themselves, because it's we all can learn to tune into our intuition.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Now, many things have become clear now.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm very glad.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lesley.
Thank you so much for phoning, Lotus.
Thanks for your compassion and your energy.
You're welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. So we were having a lovely chat with Lotus there, all about her career and her relationships, and the line's still open right now. So if you have a question and you would like to have some insight on that question, you can call. And if there's something that you would like us to address on the show, something that you would like us to talk about as a topic, then please do send in your ideas to info@drlesleyphillips.com. At the beginning of the show today, we were talking about an energy center that exists near the base of your spine called your first chakra. It's also called your base chakra sometimes, or your root chakra, and it's the one that connects you to earthly reality. And I'm happy to talk about anything: chakras, intuitive abilities, strange goings on and bumps in the night, you name it. So don't be shy. So it seems like we've naturally moved into answering people's questions, Corey. Do you have any questions that people have written in with? No? Oh, all right. Well, I'll keep rabbiting on about the first chakra then if you don't.
So there's always lots of questions, Dr. Lesley. Okay, and today's first question is from Annie. And Annie asks, can you help me to understand why I'm struggling so much in life and how to fix things? Sorry. And I am beyond overwhelmed. Anything good coming up soon?
Okay. Thank you for that question, Annie. I was feeling overwhelmed myself today, so that's a good one for me to look at. All right. Let's see. And folks, I'm just tuning into Annie's energy. Well, what a great question for the theme. It goes in alignment with the theme of today's show. And remember at the beginning, for any listeners that you've been listening the whole show, at the beginning I was talking about the differences between spiritual reality and physical reality. And one of the things we said was, in spiritual reality, there's no space and time. Everything just is. It's in existence. Whereas in physical reality, there's space and time. And what that means is you have to make choices, because you can't possibly fit everything into the little units of space and time that you have. And so what I'm seeing, Annie, is you have all these wonderful things that you want to do, all these things that you're excited about, that you want to fit into your life, that you want to achieve, that you want to, create. And it's all there, contained in your higher spiritual consciousness. All these great ideas you have to be manifested this lifetime. But you're kind of stuck at the point of, it's sort of like you've got this big giant basket and they're all in the basket all at once, and you don't know what thing to choose, or you just want to choose all of them. That's the dilemma. The dilemma is, now how can I do all of these things that I want to do? And the answer is, you have to make choices. You have to realize that you're in physical reality, and you have to choose one at a time and do them in a linear fashion. That's just kind of the way the physical world works. We we can multitask a little bit, but not on the same level as all things being held in existence in the oneness. And so that's your dilemma. It's sort of like, so the advice would be, you've got to make some choices. It's like, write a big list of all the things that you're wanting to do, and prioritize them. I'll do number 1 first, and then I'll do number 2, and when I've completed that, I'll do number 3. So that's part of the overwhelm. The other part of the overwhelm that I'm seeing is, we started out talking about the first chakra, which is how you link to the physical world. At the opposite end of your body is your crown chakra, which is how you link to the cosmic consciousness or the spiritual world. And I'm seeing that you have your crown chakra really wide open, because it's like, I want to know I want to know the answers, and I'm so interested in everything. But I'm seeing again that doesn't work from being in the perspective of a human body, because in the perspective of a human body, we exist in the here and now, in physical reality and in time and space, and all that does is put you exactly where you are, which is in overwhelm. Because you can't fit all of those possibilities into one tiny body that exists for, a certain focused period of time. So, how can we help you with this? You can just imagine that your crown chakra is like a fan, and at the moment you've got the fan wide open. Just close your fan down a little bit. Maybe to about 10%. 10% is enough for you to connect with your higher self and not be in overwhelm. And of course, getting grounded so that you can start to bring in those projects that you have in mind for yourself one at a time. And then I think that, have I answered the question fully, Corey? She said, is there anything coming up on the horizon in the future? And of course, I don't predict the future for people, because I believe you create your own reality, and I think you've got enough to be going on with, Annie, in creating your own future. So we don't want to overwhelm you anymore by introducing any more possibilities for you to choose from. So I think we'll leave it there.
That feeling of overwhelmment is it's overwhelming,
isn't it?
No, it really is. It's a scary feeling, and all you got to do is for me, I've been there many times, and the only thing to do is like get into the now. Because overwhelmment is usually, what's coming? Am I making the right decision? And by, am I making the right decision? It means, am I making the right decision to get me to where I got to get to, or to make somebody else happy, or something like that? So it's always about getting into the present. And if I were to ask Dr. Lesley what she would recommend, she'd probably say, ground.
Oh, I think I used that word but then grounding brings you into the present moment.
Yeah, exactly. Being in the present moment actually removes all that, can remove that overwhelming feeling, so that there's some clarity can come into your life, at least for a few moments, like 1 second at a time. Be in the present a few seconds at a time, and it gives you a chance to breathe. It's a good thing, breathing. I have a question from Rina. Or Rina, I'm not sure which it is, R-I-N-A. And Rina wants to know, who was I in my past life?
Oh. See? That's what people always say. Who was I in my past life? And the answer is thousands of people. But...
Okay, next question.
But what I do in a past life reading, of course, is we tune into the one that is most directly relevant to where you are currently in the current lifetime. So we make a link like that, so that we bring one up that makes sense to you. All right, so Rina. If it's R-I-N-A, it's Rina. So I'm tuning in, and we'll do a very quick past life reading for this person. All right. I always like to do a tune-in with the current lifetime as well, and the current growth cycle in the current life, towards the end of the current cycle, and that doesn't mean you're about to pop your clogs. What it means is, in any lifetime we go through many cycles of growth and change, and you're towards the end of one cycle and towards the beginning of another cycle. And I'm seeing that the current cycle has kind of been one of expansion and getting more out there in the world and exploring some more things. And actually it's a good follow-on from the last question, because I'm seeing the new cycle is going to be about, and now where am I going to focus? Now that I've explored all these multiple possibilities, what choices will I make and where am I going to focus? So we're going to look at a past life for you. This one's quite a long time ago. And I'm finding my way into the life by looking at a symbol, and it actually is in the Middle East. We were just talking about the Middle East. It looks like it's in the Middle East, and I'm seeing you be in a female body. And I'm seeing you be the consort of let's call him a magi, kind of like a mystical seer. A man who is kind of like a man of renown, a man who is he knows a lot about astrology, and people consult him about the choices that are the stars aligned with me making this choice, or what do the stars say about this, that, and the other. So I'm seeing that you were his consort. You were in a female body, and you were his life partner, and that he was somebody who gave an enormous amount. So he was very popular, and so he was often exhausted and overwhelmed, and let me see. Oh, it's interesting because I'm looking at a point when he sort of almost burnt himself out, and you are tending to him and trying to heal him and rouse him out of his. It just looks like the pressure of everybody wanting a piece of him. And it looks like the people that wanted a piece of him, the people who wanted him to advise them, were important people. And the pressure of living up to their expectations and being at their beck and call, and also it just looks like he got caught up in his ego as well. And so if he did something that he then judged to be bad or wrong or a mistake, he beat himself up hugely. So I'm just seeing you at a point in time where he's got himself into a bit of a depression and can't go on kind of a state. And let's see. Well, it looks like that. I'm sort of trying to see how this relates to the current lifetime as well, but it looks like you kind of came and tried to tempt him out of his place mentally that he'd got himself into, and it kind of like nothing you did worked, and all your energy was being poured into his problem, and so the learning in that life was about just letting be and letting go, letting go of responsibility for this other person, and just giving up to the universe. I can't control this situation. I can't control this other person. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to be where they're going to be. And, and I'm just hemorrhaging all my energy into that, and it's not doing any good. And so I'm seeing that the parallel that I would draw to the current lifetime is, it looks like in this period of exploration that you've been going through in the current life, there's a whole range of different things that you've created and ways that you've created them. And some of them are tied up with other people's energy and other people's desires and other people's expectations. And it looks like you're moving into a phase of just focusing your energy on you and what's right for you now, which is what you had to do in that prior lifetime that we've just looked at. And so you're bringing it up to, just to remind you about how to do that, how to let go of responsibility for others, how to let go of needing other people to be in a certain way or needing to, meet their expectations, and just make your own choice and go your own way.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to her website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com, where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.